I have no
We'll
clue.
have to see how this, I don't know.
This
like,
is my main
these
top.
kind of matchups. These kind of matchups I have no idea against.
Okay, and I play Ret Hunter Shaman, but I don't think I've ever faced like a high rated turbo yet. I gotta queue up, man. I haven't queued up in a while. I gotta face these turbos.
I think, if I had to guess, I think the team of I'm Stuck is going to have a lot of opportunities throughout the game to make swaps on a Supatease, and I think if they do it right and they get enough across CC on a Tony Jr., it can be really scary for Supatease, especially when Dhorthy has those BM crows up and Avengelyne has those wings. But I could see this game also going very long, since both teams do have those hybrids on them.
Yeah, that being said, I feel like if the game goes longer, I want to give the advantage to the turbo still. But we'll see. We'll see. So Avengelyne is using that Seal of Justice to slow down whatever kill target he's going on. The full Hodge goes out onto Supatease already. Into the full trap. BM coming out from Dhorthy. They want to get offensive. Tony going to line of sight Dhorthy at this point. But Wings is coming out. Tony taking so much damage through the Shaman Rage. He's dipping so low. There's the Trents being spammed by Supatease. But is it going to be enough? Tony's dipping so low. That's the battle, the roar coming out from Losa, keeping Tony's health up for now. But that's a lot of buttons used.
Yeah, that was rallying cry. Supatease didn't use his trinket. All he uses is NS there, so he's still going to have a trinket available for the next swap. Dhorthy taking some damage though right now. Avengelyne bopping that bash onto Joxy, and Dhorthy caught into the full shockwave at around 20% HP. This might be his first deterrence, but Joxy not any more CC, able to top him off with the healing wave there. Avengelyne getting cloned up by Supatease. And this team of Dhorthy and Avengelyne, they forced a lot of pressure on Tony Jr., but they're not going to have cooldowns again until Dhorthy has his BM crows up in around 7 seconds. So maybe they can make something there, but at the same time, every time he has that, Tony Jr. is going to have a Shaman available. They line up very nicely, which I think is going to make it very hard for them to actually kill Tony Jr.
Yeah, he does have the BM crows up, but Supatease also did trinket here recently, so maybe they could get something going on. It looks like Supatease is going to be taking a little bit of damage. He's just going to bark skin and get out of there. Avengelyne seems to be the kill target for the turbo here at this point. Hex trying to come out from Tony, and he doesn't quite land it just yet, but he is doing a great job faking, and it still doesn't land. Supatease, though, putting Avengelyne into that full clone to try to prevent this momentum. Dhorthy now taking quite a bit of damage. He's at 60% health here. Supatease, though, into that full Hodge, and now Tony, he's in a little bit of trouble. This is the full trap coming out. Is this gonna, and the BM crows have already been used, so they're not gonna get too much here. So he is gonna be completely fine as Supatease is gonna come out of that CC and be okay.
Yeah, Tony Jr. is very self-sufficient. Enhancement Shamans are basically little Resto Shamans that run around with axes, so unless they can stop his heals, which is hard to do because they're instant, it's going to be hard for them to actually kill him, I think. Avengelyne down to 50% HP right now. Dhorthy taking a little bit of damage as well. And if we look, Joxy actually only has 40% mana. Supatease now caught into the full Hodge, though. The crow's coming out. He could just die. The wings are out as well. Supatease could be in a lot of trouble. Gets away. He has the double skinned out right now. Arcskin as well as Ironbark taking way less damage than he normally would. But he can't top, and he dies through Barkskin as well as Ironbark. And he just didn't have Trinket. And they were able to just kill him with BM Crows as well as Wings. And that's what I was talking about, is they're going to have a lot of opportunities to set up on Supatease. And once they have enough cooldowns rolling their way, it's hard for them to really pull through.
Wow, that was a solid swap with the wings and everything on Supatease there. But yeah, I think that going Seal Justice for Avengelyne is definitely going to help him on these swaps. Supatease just was waddling away. I'm not sure if he had his displace button, but I'm not even sure if it's really going to help him, as BM Crows is still flying on him, and that's the Barkskin and Ironbark, like you said, Ven, and it just wasn't enough. And the very first win of this best of 3 series is going to go to Team I'm Stuck. Next map will be determined by Tony from the Bronx's team, and we'll get that situated for you guys here in one hot minute. Just give me a minute. Is there? I feel like there really isn't a map. Maybe like Tolvaron. Maybe they want to draw it out.
I think Supatease is going to be looking for space, so
Yeah.
they're going to have big maps. He knows he's probably going to be the target of choice. Like I said, it's really hard for them to actually get a kill against Tony because his Shaman lines up so nice with BM Crows, and that's such a huge part of their burst and their damage rotation.
Yeah. So you're absolutely right, Ben. They are going to choose a bigger map. They're going to go ahead and hop into Tolvaron Arena. Alright everybody, welcome to Tolvaron Arena. It is a Turbo versus a Ret Hunter Shaman team, and we are on a bigger map there. Bigger map to try to give Supatease a little bit more breathing room, as he was the kill target last game. But I don't know, man. I don't even know if Tolvaron Arena is going to be enough to keep Supatease alive, but it's definitely going to help.
Is this Shaman's name Joxy?
Jox? I'm just gonna call him Joxy. I like Joxy.
I'm just wondering if he is named something else. I guess he's just Joxy Pew Pew. That's what I'm calling him from now on.
Alright, there it is. It is, it's not Dwaynewave, it is a sub-in, so it is Joxy, I believe.
Okay.
Alright.
Just making sure I wasn't getting that wrong.
I feel you, man. Both teams sitting at their pillars as that as that BM Hunter gains his stacks.
Both Shamans staying at their homes, the pillars. Tony Jr. Chef Tony Jr. now going to be running in. They're going to try to start off on Dhorthy a little bit. He's got dipped a little bit, but Joxy's able to quickly top him off, and no healers are in CC yet. We'll have to see who gets things rolling first. The full shockwave coming out from Losa on Avengelyne as well as Dhorthy at the moment. Dhorthy's getting chunked quite a bit. Joxy's still not in CC, but he's having a hard time keeping Dhorthy topped off right now. And Supatease just hiding behind the pillar in bear form. Knows he's the target of choice, and he's just going to play ultra safe. Doesn't have any hots on himself at the moment, but he's just sitting back, max range healing, keeping hots on his team, and just trying to avoid any swaps that they can do to him.
Yeah, not much happening so far. Both teams playing pretty safe here. The trap goes out onto Losa. Supatease is too far away to dispel that. Looks like Tony's going to be the kill target for this Ret Hunter. I'm not sure. There's the full Hodge that goes out into Supatease. Wings coming out for revenge. They want to get offensive. Sham wall coming out from Tony right away. This is BM Crows as well. Barrage even coming out from Dhorthy, but that Sham Rage counters it quite well. Supatease out of that CC at this point. Tony doing a great job healing himself and getting out of line of sight. Iron Bar coming out from Supatease. That's the nature, or I'm sorry, that's just the Genesis. And Tony is going to be offensive once again. Avengelyne now forced to use that wall. He's dipping kind of low. Roar Sacrifice coming out from Dhorthy. And there's the top off from Joxy. Avengelyne's going to be completely fine.
They really didn't get anything there with their cooldowns. I'm surprised. I don't know what happened, but Dhorthy wasn't able to follow up that Hodge with a Trap or a Wyvern, and because of that, Tony only had to use Shaman at the cost of BM Crows as well as Wings, so yeah, that was a favorable trade for them. The full Hodge coming out onto Supatease right now, though. Supatease, I should say. He has Trents on himself, though, so it's going to be hard for Dhorthy to actually land a trap, and that's one of the good things about that Trent ability. He does get knocked, perhaps into the full trap. Beautifully done by Dhorthy there, knocking into the trap. He's going to trinket that, though. And at the same time, Tony Jr. is going to have to use the Strong Rage, desperately trying to get topped off here. He's healing himself up. Supatease spamming out those heals. He should be fine for now, but now Supatease has no trinket, and Tony Jr. has no wall, and Dhorthy still has his BM Crows. So Tony Jr. could be in a lot of trouble the next CC chain they have on Supatease.
40 seconds on that Sham Rage. That could be deadly, man. Dhorthy now caught into that bash. Avengelyne in that charge stun. I think Los is trying to peel. Supatease is actually in that stun. It looks like they're going to go him right now. The Avenging Wrath coming out, and that is the BM Crows onto Supatease. Supatease doing a great job getting out of line of sight of Dhorthy, and it looks like the Iron Bark and Bark Skin is going to be enough to keep him okay for now, and he's just doing a great job getting out of line of sight of Dhorthy, but Avengelyne consistently getting on him and keeping him slowed as well. But I don't know. I'm not sure.
He's going to be in trouble. He has no trinket, no bar skin available, and Avengelyne has his wings up in 1 second. So if he gets Hodged out of bear form, he could just be dead. He's at 80% HP right now. Avengelyne with the wings, the trinket, the Hodge, and here it is. If he gets anything followed up on Supatease, Tony Jr. spamming heals, trying to keep him topped off. The barrage coming out from Dhorthy onto Supatease, and he's still not out of the woods yet. The shockwave coming out from Losa onto Avengelyne. Now Supatease finally able to get away, but
that was scary, man. Ooh, yeah, Tony getting tipped now. He's at 50% health here. He's still a Sham Rage and everything, though. So he's absolutely fine. The bash goes out into Dhorthy. Avengelyne starting to take a little bit of damage. It is quite hard, and Joxy's mana is showing how hard it is to keep this team offensive. He's at 24% mana at this point, and they're pulling back, I think, for that very reason. I think Joxy needs to keep try to get a drink here if he wants to keep doing these swaps onto Supatease. Tony now, he's taking a bit of damage, but he's got Sham Rage. He's gonna be fine. It looks like Dhorthy is gonna be the kill target. Nope, the Turbo is gonna swap right on over to. Are they hitting the Shaman right now? Oh, the Warrior actually being hit.
He sat down for a drink, so Losa heroic leaped in there to stop that. He got a little bit of mana off, but really nothing too significant.
Yeah. That's good, though. They really do need to stop those. I think the double shockwave goes out onto both the DPS from Losa. Avengelyne the kill target once again. He's going to use that wall. This is BM, though. They're going on to Tony. Tony's instantly going to reply with the Shaman Rage, but Supa's in that stun, and he does also have the Ascendance going to heal himself. Avengelyne, though, he's dipping low, and he's forced to bubble right before that Joxy big heal, so he's not going to have that bubble later on. Tony, though, he's still low, and Shaman Rage has gone down. Supatease using that NS. He's going to keep him okay for now, but for how much longer?
Supatease still has Iron Bark and Trinket available. Tony Jr.'s Shaman is going to come up in around 30 seconds. If we look at the cooldowns of Avengelyne, his wings are coming up in 13, BM Crows in 20, so the next BM Crows and wings are going to line up quite nicely. Avengelyne taking a little bit of damage right now, but Joxy's able to top him off. But Joxy's mana is going to be a huge issue unless he can get a drink off. He's going to have to top off Avengelyne here and try to go for a drink. He's only at 15% mana, dampening just starting, but now Supatease caught into the full Hodge, so let's see if he gets trapped out of that. Tony Jr. taking some damage, Avengelyne popping those wings, is trying to get as much pressure as they can, rolling on Tony Jr. at the moment, but Dhorthy's still using those, still saving his BM Crows. He's going to have that available perhaps for the next time they go on Tony Jr., but Tony Jr. still has a Shaman. Going to do a little bit of damage over on a Supatease. The BM Crows coming out from Dhorthy on a Supatease right now. He's going to he's going to use that Bark Skin, just get around the pillar, hot himself up, and he's going to be okay for now. Popping that Tranquility, going to top off his team, hopefully.
Yeah, Avengelyne didn't get much done with those wings. Tony dipping down relatively low here, but he's got Shaman Rage available. Popping that Grounding Totem. Avengelyne, though, pushing in like this. He needs to get topped off, but look at this guy. Look at Joxy's mana. 4% mana. Supatease in that trap. Tony's at 40% health here. Into the full Hex. Oh, man, Tony could be in a little bit of trouble here. He still has the Shaman Rage available to him unless my UI is bugging out. But he's very confident in being able to heal himself. 2% mana on a Joxy. Avengelyne is going to be in trouble here. The Link being forced out by Joxy. But this Ret Hunter team is going to be tapped here very, very soon. We are in 10% dampening at this point. But there's the Hodge on the Supatease. Tony now taking some damage from this Ret Hunter team once again. The trap actually going out onto Tony. I think it actually was meant for Supa, but I think it might have been an eat or something like that, but 1% mana on a Joxy. He's tapped, man. The end is coming very, very soon.
Yeah, all Tony and Supatease and Losa have to do is not make huge mistakes at this point, and they just have to do damage and survive, and really there's nothing Joxy can do unless he gets down for a drink. The recklessness coming out from Losa, though, Avengelyne having to use that bop on himself. Tony Jr. can connect. He will be able to purge that off. Does get removed. He has no wall and no bop available for himself. Joxy still has one Spirit Link, but Avengelyne in a lot of trouble right now. Supatease getting pressured a little bit. Uses the Bark Skin as well as Iron Bark and NS, just making sure to keep himself alive because he knows if he survives now, this team is in so much trouble. The Spirit Link coming out. Dhorthy needs to get into it, but it is killed off. And now Joxy's actually the one that's in a little bit of trouble using that Ghost Wolf, trying to get away, but Losa reconnecting onto him. He's 20% HP. If he gets down,
Tony's in some trouble, man.
Just die, but yeah, Tony in big trouble, though. Losa throwing out that rallying cry, try to keep him alive. Tony spamming out those heals on himself. Supatease finally out of CC. He should be able to top off Tony Jr., hopefully, but Avengelyne's wings doing work, and they might actually kill Tony Jr. Gets down to 10% there, just hovering around 20%, 10%, and Avengelyne also taking so much damage at the same time. Supatease might be able to top him off here. He does have that Nature's Vigil up. Finally, Tony Jr. is okay, but Joxy's still at 1% mana, and Avengelyne getting pressured so hard at 40% HP. Joxy's just trying to do anything he can, throwing out efficient heals, and he's going to potentially even go for a drink right here if he can, but Losa really not letting him.
Tony is the kill target right here, but I mean, look how far away Avengelyne is. He has to play so defensive, but Joxy did get 9% mana here at this point, and they're still in it. Supatease put into that Hodge. He's instantly going to Trinket and use that Bark Skin, as this was Crows and Barrage going out onto Supatease. Supatease, though, he's at 50% mana, which is much better than 7. Tony now into that Iron Bark. Supatease really trying to prevent this damage as it comes in because they're just so far ahead at 23% dampening here at this point. Avengelyne's team is just struggling to get defensive cooldowns out of this team, and it's so hard for Joxy to keep his team offensive, but he's somehow doing it. Avengelyne now dipping down to about 50% health here. Tony is the kill target for this Ret Hunter team, but he's got Shaman Rage available to him. Supatease now put into that Hodge, but he did preemptively bear form it, but they're just going to trap him up on it and continue on to Tony, but Tony's doing a great job even at 20% dampening to keep himself up.
Yeah, we could see another situation, even though Avengelyne's really low right now. If Joxy can keep him alive for a little bit, they have Avenging Wrath as well as the BM Crows coming up, but will he be able to survive? They could do some sort of swap on the Supatease. He doesn't have Barskin available for a couple more seconds, no Trinket available, but Avengelyne into execute range, somehow still alive, pops the wings. They're going to be going on to Tony Jr., it looks like, but he might be okay for now. Avengelyne using those wings, I think defensively. The BM Crows coming out onto Supatease. He does pop that Barskin immediately into bear form, just playing it safe. Tony Jr. taking some damage to Ironbark, as well as the Shaman coming out onto Tony Jr. And Avengelyne's still somehow alive. Tony Jr. is the one under the most pressure right now, though, hovering around 40% HP. Supatease now caught into that full trap. He doesn't have a trinket available for another 30 seconds, but Tony Jr. is just going to line of sight, throw his heals on himself. The DR Hex coming out from Joxy on a Supatease. Tony Jr. going to be able to spell that up, but now Supatease still in a hodge. Tony Jr. not out of the woods yet, using that Ghost Wolf, trying to get away. Losa with the Shockwave onto Avengelyne, as well as Dhorthy, making sure they can't connect onto him. Losa popping that Recklessness Bladestorm, pressuring Avengelyne a lot, but he's just kiting as much as he can, trying to reduce as much damage as possible on him. Joxy's been able to keep him alive on fumes for a very long time. And finally, Losa's able to reconnect on him. The bash coming out onto Joxy. Supatease going for that Cyclone. Isn't going to be able to. Evangelyne stops him on that. The full Hex, though, coming out onto Joxy, and because of that, Evangelyne's going to have to bubble. So nice Hex coming out from Tony Jr.
Yeah, and that Fox buff on Evangelyne's letting him cast while running. Supatease, though, he's pushing in. They want to get offensive here. They smell the blood. 35% dampening at this point. The Hodge goes out onto Supatease, though. They want to get offensive on the Tony. He's got the Shaman Rage. The full trap out of that onto Supatease. And actually, he has to trinket the Shaman Rage coming out as well. The Barrage Crows onto Tony, and he's taking a lot of damage. Supatease, though, he's becoming too. Somehow, Joxy has survived this long, and Supatease now is at 7% mana as well. We're at 38% dampening. If this Ret Hunter team can continue the pressure on and surviving like this, they could potentially pull a win out. But Avengelyne, he's at 39% healthier, and he doesn't have a bubble. All he has is the bop left, and against an enhancement, that's not that big a deal. And he does bop that bash onto Joxy, and it looks like they did get the link out there, but only for a brief period of time. That's the trap onto Supatease. This is the wings from Avengelyne. They want to get offensive, but Avengelyne is dying. The double fear on both the DPS, and Evangelyne's dipping so low. He's at 9%, and he gets executed. And Tony from the Bronx is going to take their first win on this best of 3 series. What a close game, though. Supatease now at 5% mana at the end of that.
Joxy literally had nothing left. He was just going from 0% mana to 1% mana, spamming out those Riptides, and that's ultimately why Avengelyne died. He just had no mana. He wasn't CC'd at all.
Yeah. I wonder if I have any of that on. Oh, I do. So that's Joxy getting bopped out of the bash, and the link comes out. Supatease put into that that full trap. Tony's in trouble, though. This was wings, but Avengelyne couldn't make it happen, as he did get an execute range, and he is going to go down from Losa's execute. But man, that was a close game, and the next map is going to determine who goes and advances in tournament number 10. Oh, man. This is a good series, man. That was an intense game.
Yeah, that was. There's a lot of close calls, but I mean, Supatease plays so passive. As Turbo Cleave, a lot of the times he's the only target that can really die. Enhancement Shaman's obviously inherently tanky. Warriors are very tanky, especially if they have those Enhancement Shaman off heals. So Supatease is really the only one that they can get a kill on, and because of that, he's able to just play so passively. He doesn't have to keep a lot of hots up on his teammates, and he can just make sure he's in a safe spot. And it's hard for them to really land a kill.
Yeah, Tolvaron's a great map for them to really prevent that, but now it is their map choice, and I'm Stuck is going to choose a much smaller map than Tolvaron. They're going to choose Dalaran Sewers. And I think this is going to make Supatease a lot more vulnerable. Well, we'll see here. Supatease did slip by the skin of his teeth on the Grand Arena. Can he do it again? I'm sure we're about to find out here in this next map of this best of 3 series, the last map of this best of 3 series, to determine who is advancing. For whatever reason, the queue's not going through. Both teams are getting it, though. Weird. There we go. Alright, everybody, I'll see you guys in Dalaran Sewers. Alright everybody, welcome to Dollar and Sewers. It is the last game of this series. Who's gonna take it? Tony from the Bronx, I feel like, has battled their way to this point, and I'm stuck. Got very far in the first bracket last week, and so they have earned their spot this far in the lower bracket. Can Tony from the Bronx bring it back? Let's see, man. I'm not convinced. I feel like this Ret Hunter team is going to go on Supa, and they're not going to let Supa get away with surviving by the skin of his teeth.
Yeah. I don't know. It can be difficult, though, once Dhorthy and Avengelyne don't have their offensive cooldowns up. Like, once Crow's phase and Wings isn't up, their damage isn't that effective against Supatease, especially if he has full hots on himself and he's not getting purged out. It can be tough to, like, train him down, you know?
Yeah. Joxy, though, doing a great job last game surviving. Tony looks like he's going to be the kill target this time around. Avengelyne and Dhorthy both have their offensive cooldowns. They're looking for their opportunity. Let's see, Avengelyne now taking some damage from Losa. And looks like both teams are just kind of setting up here at this point. Supatease still sitting in stealth as Tony's doing a great job keeping himself up. But there's the execution sentence on to Tony, the full Hodge onto Supa. This team wants to get offensive very, very soon. But the double shockwave coming out from Losa, just stopping all that momentum.
Yeah, Dhorthy and Avengelyne still haven't used any cooldowns whatsoever. They're both kind of just waiting. Supatease did use all three of his Trents there. Dhorthy taking a little bit of damage, but Joxy not in any CC, going to be able to top out off with that healing wave there. Finally, Dhorthy getting Tony Jr. and Losa in the roots, but looks like they did get freedomed out of that. So yeah, still not too much going on, but Supatease caught into the Hodge. The BM Crows comes out from Dhorthy. Supatease immediately trinketed, just getting behind the pillar, and now he's going to play it safe. The Wings also up from Avengelyne. Tony Jr. taking a lot of damage at the moment. He still has that strong wall available. Supatease just going to use the Iron Bark on him there, and they're just kind of preemptively using cooldowns, but at the same time, Supatease is in a lot of trouble. He's down to 8% HP. The Rallying Cry comes out. He could just die. 16% HP, 14% HP, desperately trying to get away. The Bark Skin comes out way too late, and he's just going to die because of that.
That was incredible. Wings were...
Yeah, he still had his wings up for a little bit. I don't know why he didn't bark skin. I guess, I don't know, maybe he didn't know he had it. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure, man, but at the beginning of those wings, Supatease did a great job getting out of line of sight and preventing all that damage from coming in, but he peeked back out, and the offensive cooldown from this team was still going.